Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Upper right hand corner, we have DuckloadRa starting as the blue protoss, aka WhiteRa on Backwater Gulch. By the way, bottom right hand corner, we have Dignitas.Sjow starting as the red terran. This is NASL Division 2 Week 2 highlight match. It is currently tied 1-1, so everything is on the line. And these guys are the kings of execution in their respective races. So seeing who will take this match could be really significant, even down the line when you're talking about who will advance out of this group. Because honestly, either of these guys could be a strong contender to take the group. In fact, Sjow and WhiteRa are my picks. And I think a lot of people are underestimating both of them. I think Momen's another guy in this group who's really underestimated. And anyway, before I get completely out of hand here, go check out NASL.tv. They have $25 passes, and a lot of people are saying, well, actually commented, they're like, oh, it's $25, that's way too much. Keep in mind, it's 3 months of games. And also, down the line, you're probably going to want to buy a pass, especially when it hits the round of 16, or hits the more tournament-esque play. And then you'll be thinking, wow, I wish I had bought the pass earlier, because then I could have just been watching advanced VODs, or high-quality VODs this entire time. Advanced VODs. Advanced VODs! Anyway, Backwater Gulch, I don't know who to favor in this match, honestly. I feel like it's okay balanced. I don't know enough about this map in particular to really say one way or another. Looks like Sjow, mostly known for not scouting early with his SCVs, wants to keep those SCVs back to mine. He is trying to seal off his front door and deny information to WhiteRa. Unfortunately, it looks like WhiteRa is going to scout his base right off the bat. Does not look like he's taking gas once again, so probably thinking one barracks into command center once again. In the meantime, it looks like WhiteRa has grabbed his assimilator, so he is going for a very standard build thus far, gateway about halfway finished. That probe moving in, going to turn around and have an opportunity to do a little bit of harassment here. Looks like that barracks is going to finish, and no second SCV coming off the line for Sjow. So feeling like that barracks will complete. But wow, WhiteRa gets the SCV kill. And against a player who likes keeping SCVs in his base, that actually might shake him up a little bit early. Granted, one SCV is not going to completely throw him off his build, but definitely keep in mind he doesn't send out early scouting SCVs at all. So, and as soon as I said that, he sends out a scouting SCV. In the meantime, supply depot at the front, marine blocking off the ramp. WhiteRa already knows what's up. It looks like he has that cybernetics core about halfway finished. He also has a zealot rallied to the natural expansion. So realizing that Sjow is going for a strong economic opening, is perhaps thinking, well, let me go ahead and push up to the natural. Actually, he's rallying it someplace else. Yeah, okay, he is rallying it to the natural. Perhaps thinking, okay, let me rally it to the natural, try to deny that natural expansion as quickly as possible for as long as possible. That kind of sounds like an oxymoron there. Wants to get in his face very, very rapidly. Stalker now following this up, additional pylon, so is going for a little bit of a stronger economy. But I assume he's going to delay a little bit on this Vespene Geyser just to get more troops out faster. Dignitas.Sjow actually planning that command center just on the ground. And against positions like this, when he's already been scouted, this could open up a strong opportunity for WhiteRa. He was scouting that Zelnaga watchtower, that zealot pushing him off. Preventative bunker, Sjow is going to need it. But keep in mind, actually, they could just do a run by. This is not a tight wall here. Looks like WhiteRa setting up in the meantime, building up to 400 resources to get his own natural expansion up and running. Zealot's going to check out this front. The bunker not even fully finished. Oh, this is going to be close though. If he can take out that marine, okay, actually going to have to back off. Just too many marines right there, but tempting them out into the Stalker. Stalker might be able to get a kill or two here, and it looks like those marines split on top of it, definitely doing some damage. Sjow now sealing off that front out of necessity. And it looks like that front door is now well defended, but WhiteRa still has map control. Let's see if he can take out this SCV and completely put Sjow in the dark. Looks like a sentry moving forward, and is he going to catch this SCV? This could be a really pivotal moment. He is staged to the front. This SCV is low on health. WhiteRa not reacting though. And it looks like that SCV is going to be able to sneak through, see that natural expansion, and get a good look inside WhiteRa's base. And it looks like he's actually going one racks expansion into Robo, which tends to be a very dangerous build, but it's somewhat safe against what Sjow is doing right here, because especially what Sjow has shown prior. No second gas though, so it looks like he is going to be a little bit more infantry based. I assume he's going to go up to Hellion with this factory along the corner, just pumping marines out of 2 barracks thus far, and kind of a little corner spotting there by WhiteRa, which I think is actually a little bit intelligent, because there is some spacing here we can maneuver, but not too far forward. It looks like that SCV has been dispatched in the meantime. I think that, yeah, Sentry's gotten a kill. So at the very least, there should be additional information aisle, 2 additional gateways, probably, no observer to start. He's going straight to Robotics Bay. Wow. And this could really hurt Sjow early, especially if he's going to invest extremely heavily into Marines like we've seen in prior matches, and what looks like it's happening now. Still no tech labs, so this could be really pivotal. Now a tech lab lab on the factory and a starport, so I think we're going to see a mirror build of the Raven tank marine push out. But with really early Colossi, this could get stomped, and stomped heavily. Observer now starting to push out in the field. 3 warp gates are out. Gonna warp in a little bit more zealot heavy force for WhiteRa, and that has been something he's been doing in these games. I almost wonder what the logic is behind that. Perhaps realizing, okay, Raven heavy play, so let me go ahead and minimize the number of stocks, or at least keep a little bit more of a mixed composition, just so I have something to cope with. A reactor down for show, and a tech lab to get the upgrade, so going to go very heavy marine early. Pylon hiding in the corner just to provide some additional spotting now, but the first Colossi already up in production. There's going to be no anti-air to really cope with it at this stage. No Vikings. Maybe we'll see a Banshee to start, but I assume not. He currently has a decent lead. Does not have the economic lead just because of the mules. Looks like now the gas additionally being teched on right as show is going to need it, but this observer going to catch everything, and it is going to be a Banshee. Wow. Another barracks in the corner, so it's going to be very marine heavy, a Banshee, and a siege tank for WhiteRa. I'm sorry I did not have that production tab up earlier, but I think it got most of the action. We also have thermal lance upgrade, and this is what's I can't underemphasize the heavy Colossi count early. Really having a large number of Colossi this early in the match is going to be absolutely critical for WhiteRa in stopping any sort of aggression from show, and maybe even pressing the match there. It looks like WhiteRa starting to open up that destructible rock, thinking about going for an additional expansion, and actually spotting that there's nothing to stop this. No siege tech, nothing. Those Marines really don't want to press this front door, so that Colossi going to hop up, do some damage up on the high ground, stopping a supply depot, killing some SCVs, and actually drawing a lot of these troops off. Unfortunately, a little bit exposed. That Banshee is going to be able to hunt it down. Let's see if he can... Oh, not going to chase too far, though. Doesn't want to get picked off by some wayward stalkers. But in the meantime, first Colossi out, you're going to have 2 Colossi out in the field, and show's got to be thinking, well, crap. Moving a starport back on to get that reactor up and running. He needs Vikings, and he needs Vikings in a hurry. And this is at a stage where maybe he wanted some medevacs to support these Marines. But honestly, medevacs are not going to cut it against these Colossi, especially without that combat shield upgrade. WhiteRa, feeling like he's applied significant pressure, is taking the additional Nexus. I still feel like he feels extremely safe with so many Colossi out in the field and going very, very Zealot heavy thus far. Yeah, he's actually gone up to 7 Zealots, has kept the Stalker count really low comparatively. Hopefully it will be sufficient anti-air for him. Colossi 2 Stalker staging at the forward location. Just want to cut off some troops, and we might see an interesting engagement here on the low ground. 2 siege tanks, though, to penetrate, and that could be very difficult depending on how this is engaged. Oh, Marines being tempted out, and they are getting annihilated, just charging forward to their deaths. I'm not sure, it almost feels like a moth light right there, where you had the torch out, and they're like, we must go towards the light. It beckons us. No, burning on a cliffside edge. That's what they get. They must install that with the anti-aggression chip. There must be some sort of flame effect with the Colossi, because I would not run headlong into a Colossi, period, no matter what. Those things are scary. 5 gateways up and running for WhiteRa. In the meantime, we do have Factory just continually pumping tanks. Looks like the upgrades are starting to filter out, and more Marauders being produced as well. But as you can see, a complete lack of medevacs. A lot of Vikings, and that front door was recycled. It looks like show wanting to get aggressive, moving forward with several siege tanks. Keep in mind, this army is not going to be able to recharge up in the field, and it looks like WhiteRa happy to engage with those 3 Colossi. Looks like the Vikings being engaged. They are attacking away at one of the Colossus. The Marauders trying to micro their way back, but the Zealots right on top of the siege tanks. As a result, they're just completely crushing all of the siege tanks down. And in the meantime, just pressing forward. It looks like 1 Viking down, none of the Colossi taken out, just a sliver of health left on 1. And now, wow, show backed off in a lot of trouble. Regathering. WhiteRa not going to press it yet. He has supplemented more Stalkers into this army. Looks like he might... I actually wouldn't be surprised if he opens up this destructible rock, but at the moment I think he's just going to allow these Colossus to push forward, cover, and do some more damage. Finally, some medevacs out in the field, unloading on the low ground. Comsat almost catching that observer, but not quite, and you need to be careful, Lonely Viking. Oh, and that is why. He was very lucky he did not get picked off there. Natural expansion has been completely emptied, and while this is happening, you see that WhiteRa is just building his economy and in a fantastic position in this match, just showing you the economy war here. Huge lead for WhiteRa. Wow. An enormous lead. Actually, is that as big as I thought it was? Yes. Yes, it is. Medevac's being lifted off again. This is a dangerous situation from Sjow, lifting all of this off to go for a counterattack right as the army's moving in his main. This is the worst possible timing. It looks like all those supply depots getting crushed. WhiteRa has an opportunity to walk directly in this base. The Medevac still heading forward. The Vikings pulling back, however. Oh, WhiteRa. Oh no, he's backing off this attack. This could be critical. Bunch of Marauders moving in, only a single Stalker to provide defense. And let's see once he sees these Medevacs in forward field if he just goes in for an all-in attack or brings that entire army back to bear. And it looks like Sjow stim packing these Marauders. They can chew through this Nexus extremely rapidly. WhiteRa not in position, losing some troops. The Colossi popping out, providing some defense. The Medevacs loading back up and pulling out, and actually not too much lost when you consider how far out of position this army was. So it paid off for Sjow. I really feel like that front door was fragile during that stage though, and he got a little bit lucky there, but still WhiteRa pulling ahead economically. You can see the macro lead growing, 142 supply, 144 supply to 116. And he still has map control, and this army looking thin. Main very, very thin, natural expansion being saturated better, but honestly I don't think there's a lot of wiggle room here for Sjow. He needs to bust out, he needs to get an additional base, and he needs to do it soon. In the meantime, WhiteRa's army just staring him down, still not upgraded, but look at the Colossi count, and it looks like they do in fact all have full shield. That one Colossi really got out by the skin of his teeth there, just 4 health left on it. Now we see this army pressing forward for Sjow, thinking about taking additional bases. This is the thing, WhiteRa does not need to engage this army if he does not want to. He can back off and just sit on that economic lead, wait until he hits 200, and then pursue from there. Lingering Zealots being chunked down. A lot more, wow. Big support attack force moving in. Weapons 1 not too far off, engaging, picking off some of those Vikings in open field. One Colossi is going to collapse, but there's still plenty of Colossi behind. Zealots moving on top of the tanks once again. Everything staying this time though. For Sjow, he needs to press forward and get some room. Unfortunately, his siege tanks just being overwhelmed by the amount of forces, and WhiteRa has planted a pylon in the meantime to warp additional troops in. Oh, this is a complete breach for Sjow. Blink Stalkers now on the forward field as well. That Blink upgrade, they're going to be very mobile and very dangerous, just charging forward. No Colossi left, but it's not going to make a difference. Not enough Siege Tanks and Marauders to hold back, to stem the tide. SCV's annihilated, and it looks like WhiteRa is going to take this match. GG from Sjow. Well played by WhiteRa. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, check out NASL.tv. Check out the VODs they have there. They do live broadcast almost every single day. Hope you guys enjoy it. Really nice match. Well executed by WhiteRa once again. Hope you guys enjoyed it.